The Sierra Club stood tall and gave me an initial level of credence and credibility to this campaign that was very helpful. Hopefully it was because they honestly believed that we could win and that it was the right thing to do. And I thank Jeff Tittle and all the people who were involved in the Sierra Club. And also, you know, the organization that had some of the most courage was the Star Ledger. The Star Ledger. You know, I was fortunate enough to get the endorsement of several newspapers across the state, but the state's largest newspaper is often the bellwether. And when the Star Ledger endorsed me, and the indictment they made of the two-party system, I think still rings pretty true in my mind, and it's something. And I hope that whoever wins tonight will remember the words of the Star Ledger and take those words to heart, because we do have problems in this state, and they do need to be addressed. You know, when we started this campaign, we pledged to be honest with you and honest with the voters in New Jersey. We pledged to run a positive campaign. We pledged to give detailed solutions to the problems and the difficult issues we face. We pledged to spell out specific policies that would make New Jersey more competitive, would be more affordable for its residents and its businesses. And you know what? I believe we delivered on those promises. Particularly in offering a detailed plan to rebalance our tax system and cut the property taxes, the income taxes, and the corporate taxes that are driving people and businesses out of this state. New Jersey is in dire financial straits. Most voters know this too well, even if our politicians shy away from the truth. We've been living beyond our means in this state governmentally for far too long. We have to rein in spending, a step that requires public employees and government officials to make the tough decisions that can no longer be avoided, particularly with regard to the health care and pension benefits of our public employees, who ought to have the kinds of protections necessary and not have their pensions raided, not have people get into the system that don't belong in the system, but who also should have a system that is more in line with the private sector. We need to work together to fashion a plan. We need to work together to fashion a plan for financing the future transportation projects, a decision that we put off for years because of political jockeying. We must stop borrowing to finance open space preservation, a cause that many of you know is very dear to my heart, by keeping our promise to create a dedicated source of funding for open space protection. We hope that the power of ideas would trump the power of money in elections, but sadly in New Jersey, tonight that's still not the case. Nevertheless, after spending months on the campaign trail and talking to thousands of our fellow citizens, we know that they're not satisfied with the status quo. They hunger for change, and they know they won't get it unless there's radical reform in our political system. Government is not the problem. I still believe, standing before you tonight, our two-party system is what the problem is. Government can be a positive force in our society. But in order to make it so, we need to elect independent thinking people, candidates not tied to party ideology and beholden to special interests. All that we know. What we didn't know, and unfortunately I'd say this tonight, regardless of who wins, what we didn't know is Republicans and Democrats will do anything to win an election. The corrosive nature of this campaign is something we should all be ashamed of, and we should work day and night to stop. It is. Voters don't like it, and independents really don't like it. And I think they respond by staying home. And if you look at tonight, low voter turnout. Why do you have low voter turnout? People were disgusted with the nature of the charges, the allegations, the negative campaigning, all this nonsense about robocalls, and all this nonsense about who shot John and whose driving record was worse and who was given a loan to somebody. Nobody cares. We've got to stop that. We've got to stop it in New Jersey, and we have to stop it nationally, because in the end, we are all losers. We are all losers in this kind of a thing. Poll-driven politics and campaigns that have no substance are not what democracy is all about in the books that I read and everything I learned growing up as a kid and as an adult. So when we look back on this campaign, we got to all hold our heads high, because we stood tall, every one of us. It wasn't just about me. It wasn't about Frank and my kids and my wife and Sherry Esposito. This was about New Jersey and the need to talk about the issues that face this state, the need to say what needs to be said to fix New Jersey and to clean up not only the mess that's been created from the standpoint of our policies, but also how we conduct our lives and how we conduct our campaign. So I, for one, will get behind whoever wins this race tonight, and I will do what I can, if asked, by the way, by either party. Not just, this was no conspiracy with me and John Corzine. The idea that there was some conspiracy to somehow shape this election that I took part in was sheer nonsense. And everybody that knows me and has ever worked with me knows that. And while I recognize that they have a right to say what they want, we need to get our handle on shock jock radio. You know, I don't know about you, but anybody who can just take a radio station and use it to say anything they want about anybody that's there with no basis in fact, with no understanding of what is behind the statements that were made, and who can just rail for hour after hour against whoever it is. I was maybe the victim this time and the target. But others have been the target, not only in New Jersey, but elsewhere in this country. It's ugly, it's not good, and it suppresses the votes. It does not help democracy. So we need to end that soon. It's been an honor for me. I will finish this.
Can I help?
Yeah, you can help. No, it's been an honor for me to have all of you help me. It's been an honor to be part of this. It's been an honor to take on the issues that face this state, and it'll be an honor for me to continue to serve in a capacity as I hope anybody else that's asked by anybody who's serving us in government, whether it's a president of the United States or a governor of this state. If you're called upon to serve, you ought to think seriously about doing it. So I thank you all from the bottom of my heart, and now it's time to have a drink or two. So thank you.